Here's Untold History of the United States, Episode 4, titled The Cold War. So the World War II is over, and all of a sudden a whole new war, so to speak, merges into town, which lasted, a good almost 45 years. But of course there was never a war, so to speak. It was just more of a political battle going on. And basically Oliver Stone takes us through his perspective of the journey about how the Cold War really took place. And this is his line, not my line. Basically, he's basically saying it's from the American perspective. It's about human emotion. Basically, there was all kinds of fear, worry that was manipulated, anxiety, paranoia, and mixed with bad leadership. And of course, he's taken Oliver Stone. There's one theme in this, or summary, whatever you want to say, about his Untold History of the United States portion during the 1940s, is that Harry Truman wasn't a great leader, and he takes shot after shot after shot at Harry Truman. And basically, what they did is that after the World War II was over, there was a little bit of insecurity towards what the Russians were up to, and like he said, Russians, they're not innocent parties here. They were guilty parties. Like, they kind of invaded Hungary and Yugoslavia. They did some pretty bad shit, right? But it's like, he's also saying, he's not denying any of that, but he's basically saying how the Americans reacted to that. And he talks about the setup of the United Nations, which is basically the setup of the Western Europe into Canada, the United States. So basically all the Western America setting up a formation just in case the Russians decided to be like the Germans of the World War II and try to invade the world. So basically they set up shop about, like, okay, the Americans were like, okay, we got all these guys in front of us who basically will take care of things if we can't take care of things. So that's how the United Nations was formed. And then also the CIA, the birth of the CIA after the war, and of course all the spying and like the conspiracy and trying to get information. And basically the CIA was supposed to be just an information gathering system, but of course it didn't become that way, because it's almost like Animal Farm. You set up these sort of rules about how things should be, and then of course one person breaks the rule, and the rules tumble, and they kind of like make their own rules up along the way, kind of a thing. And that's sort of what his analogy is about, and basically about how certain politicians, and he kind of blames the right for this, is that in the homeland of America, when everybody came back saying the scare about communism, about like how they're evil and about they don't believe in God, and like how they want to take over the world, and basically about like all like scaring the average person. And of course in the Gallup polls, the average person thinks that communism is evil, and the Russians are evil. So this whole kind of like chain of events in this like perfect storm of a lot of different things kind of sets up this battle with the Russians. And of course the other argument is that they've been through so much conflict, they kind of need to have some fuel of conflict. They kind of like, so then people can band together. And basically what Oliver Stone does in this episode, he kind of blames the United States just as much as the Russians in terms of this whole Cold War thing. And of course the bombs get set up, and there's this whole kind of fear and anxiety, and there's also like, it was good business too, and that's sort of what the point is as well, where the oil companies got something out of it. Everybody gets something out of it in the end. And it's almost like, if you want to be a conspiracy theorist, it seems like the Russians and the Americans kind of had a good time with this whole Cold War thing, because like I said, nobody really died except for like the underground stuff. But then that's what he's trying to say. It's like, does this really need to exist? Couldn't Stalin and Truman, who were allies during the end of the Second World War, like talk to each other and like kind of make the world stronger in a lot of ways, and not have war? That was Roosevelt's idea all along. And it's like his question of like, what if Roosevelt stayed alive, or the whole thing of what if Henry Wallace was the actual president? Like, the Cold War probably wouldn't have happened, because those guys' agendas all along, even in the 1930s, was about peace, and basically about prosperity, and about making, compromising for the sake of like making sure there's no worry. That's my review of it, and I'm looking forward to more of Oliver Stone's Untold History. That's my review.